Hi y'all, this is Scompy here. I wanted to let you know a diet I've been on. It's my own diet. I'm calling it the Scompy Fat Loss Targeted System. I give it your own name. But it is a little bit different than a lot of the diets that are out there, and it's really worked for me. And I've come up with this diet from the science that I read from different websites. I used to be a biologist and a chemist back in the day, so I'm really aware of what the science does. So here it is in a nutshell. My system uses intermittent fasting, uses low sugar, and low glutamate. I've pretty much lost about 70 pounds in the last 3 years, kept it off. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm 43 years old. So what basically this entails is my intermittent fasting regimen is it's like a 20 it's like 20 hours of not eating, 4 hours of eating. That's at the maximum side of it. Or I'll go a day with like maybe 8 hours of eating and 16 hours of not eating. It's variable based on the day, and it's based on when I exercise and pretty much how I'm feeling. But pretty much every day I'm getting about somewhere between 16 to 18 hours of solid non-eating window time in every day. I use intermittent fasting as a tool. It really helps regulate my ketone levels, making sure that they come back again. It really helps make the hunger go away. I mean, it seems opposite, but when I fast, I actually get less hungry. And then it also is a way that it's probably allowing my body to adapt to all the hormone changes that the benefits of the intermittent fasting provide, which I won't go into in this video, but there's a lot of them, including human growth hormone. So on the no sugar side of things, I pretty much have eliminated all my sugar sources. This includes a lot of the starches and all of the breads. Bread is really important for another reason, which I'll get into in my part 3 here with the glutamate side. But with the no sugar, I'm pretty much consuming between like maybe some days only 10 grams of sugar a day, and maybe up to 50 grams of sugar a day at maximum on my days that I'm just like, making sure I'm not getting much. I'm doing this for myself because I'm finding my insulin sensitivity is very compromised in my system after maybe probably 2 decades of eating horribly through my 20s and my 30s. So I might not ever be fixed, and I might have to keep my sugar levels low for the rest of my life. But I think over the course of time, I've heard some people rebound with this a little bit. So in a lot of people, maybe they can eat 100 grams of sugar a day, that's fine, or even more, and not have any consequences. For me, I get a little bit of sugar in, my pancreas goes crazy, it outputs a lot of insulin, and I store fat real easily. The days I can go, if I go a couple days eating a lot of sugar, like more than 100 grams a day, I'll be up at least 3 or 4 pounds the next day. This is very documented, very scientific about it. So most people are aware of the sugar stuff coming on. It's becoming very mainstream to lower your sugars in your diet again. A lot of people are confused about the grains, but grains are just simply long chains of glucose. So they're a little slower to get into your system, but they'll break down into sugar, and if you're sensitive to sugar, you probably want to avoid the grains. So on the third side of this with my Scompy program, which almost everybody neglects, is glutamate. You're getting glutamate from massive number of sources in the diet out there. I have to go out of my way to find low glutamate foods and eat low glutamate all the time. And the reason why is that glutamate is naturally occurring in everything in the form of the amino acid glutamic acid. But if you heat or dry out a food, that glutamic acid turns to the salt version of glutamate, and a lot of times it becomes a free glutamate, which is unbound and can just immediately get into your blood, through your intestinal system. So what is important to note here is that glutamate, what it does is there's glutamate receptors throughout your whole body and a lot of your organs, your stomach and your pancreas. And what scientists have found recently is that glutamate actually can help control the regulation of your insulin from your pancreas. Guess what? You slam your pancreas with a lot of glutamate sources in your diet, and it will output more insulin. This is known in the absence of sugar, in the absence of glucose. So you could just eat a lot of glutamate and you're still outputting insulin into your bloodstream. Doctors, I haven't heard any doctor talk about this. This information has been out there for a while. So consider this. I've lost all my weight. I'm like I said, 170 pounds. I'm like an athlete. I play soccer 3 or 4 times a week now. It's amazing how my body converted from being not like a total slob, but being very obese in my 20s and very overweight in my 30s, and running marathons even in the past and having all the weight bounce back on me. It's really insulin is the key to everything here. So do everything you can to control your insulin levels, and every doctor will tell you this. But what doctors generally don't know is that aspect of glutamate. So glutamate has all sorts of other problems associated with it as well. So you see studies being done on Alzheimer's disease, anti-glutamate drugs being made to combat that. You see links to autism. You see links to all kinds of stuff. Speaking of autism, I'll just go into it right now a little bit. Gelatin is a base that has been in there in vaccines since 1982. And gelatin is ground cow bone, which is dried out. It's a high glutamate content injected directly into the blood. Then you have, in a lot of vaccines like the MMR, they directly add MSG to it. So if you get MMR, you get it directly injected MSG into your bloodstream. Bam, hits all these processes, probably does all these other things to your system, like your all the glutamate receptors on your pancreas, everywhere else that it's hitting from your bloodstream. But all of the neurological problems, all the excitotoxicity caused from the glutamate is a totally other side of it that's problematic as well. And the third side of glutamate that's a very huge problem is the rapid blood pressure shifts. In my 20s, I was getting these spots in my eyes. What it was blood, the capillaries in my retina bursting and blood seeping into the gel part of my eye and causing little blind spots. Well, it was because it was the glutamate surge. I was getting massive swings of blood pressure changes because I had all this glutamate coming into my system. And then the glutamate would come back down and then the blood pressure would fall back down. So that's why we find a lot of people with migraine headaches, same kind of thing going on, constriction of the blood vessels in the arteries, boom, you get a migraine triggered from excess glutamate in your diet. Now, glutamate sources, like I said, are naturally occurring. It was first extracted from kelp in 1908 from a Japanese scientist who actually started producing the MSG that we even have today. But beyond the history of it, our glutamate is in so many sources in foods. It's in beets, it's in peas, it's in mushrooms, it's in tomatoes, it's in wheat gluten is really the highest amount of it. So you eat bread, you're getting both sugar and glutamate, high concentrations at the same time. This synergistic effect hitting your pancreas, causing it to output more insulin, I'm thinking is really the root cause of what's going on here with the obesity epidemic. It's not just sugar. Sugar's a big component of it, the excess sugar, but the glutamate along with it, I think, is causing these massive swings in a lot of people that are more sensitive or have the insulin sensitivity just bursted and destroyed in their systems like I did. So I just wanted to get this information out there to all of you about this fact. I love comments. I love doctors, anyone in the medical industry, to take a look at this information, take a look at the scientific literature, and think about the pancreas. Think about why insulin is everything and the cause and the start of almost a cascading of all these diseases, starting with diabetes, going up to hardening of the arteries and cancers and all these other risks and threats that are out there. I really appreciate you listening to all this, and I'll talk to you later.